Well, friends, let us begin to prepare. Actually, before going into the classes of Sanskrit, syllabus, lesson plans, and the method by which I am going to get over a grip of comfortable grip of Sanskrit language, so that following my course, right from the alphabets, beginning with the alphabets, you can go up to the level of comprehending a story, or you can write your own story. You can write grammatically correct sentences, and you can even deconstruct a shloka and try to get the meaning. Though this is the very beginning of all the beginnings, this is the very strong base I need all of you to have, so that you can comfortably follow my other courses which I am going to construct on this base. So, before going into the courses, let me give some idea about how we should learn a language. And that is very basic. A person who knows Sanskrit rather is a learner by himself. He can never claim that I have learnt everything in Sanskrit. So, I am also like that. I am still learning. I have to learn many things, but I feel I am comfortable with whatever I learnt, so that the very basic confusions I had in the initial stages of me getting acquainted with these Sanskrit languages, I felt the same trouble should not be faced by many of the new beginners. So, this is especially for those beginners who want to have a very strong, clear, thorough base and to go on further on their own. So, who is me? Who am I? It's a big question, and I am a learner. I am a learner of Sanskrit, and I started learning some 3 years back, and I felt that there is something in this language. The language itself is somewhat beautiful, and it gives some type of pleasure to learn the language. A person who is interested will find everything easy. A person who is not interested will find everything difficult. So, there is no question of what is easy and difficult. Anyway, we will see how we can easily learn Sanskrit and what makes Sanskrit difficult like that. This is one time course introduction, like as a precursor I am making. So, please follow the concepts I discussed in this presentation. This is one time instruction for all of us, and if we follow this, then we can progress. I feel learning Sanskrit through some course and exam should be in a different methodology, and learning Sanskrit to know the language, to understand the language and the style of expression, and to read the materials available in the language should be a different style of learning pattern. I got the idea of the construction of the language, the structure of the language, and why the language is like this, and how the expressions are done in that language. And that gave one comfortable position to me. So, now going through and reading different material is not a task for me. It is just like that for me. I can go on reading many things. I can take notes, and I can understand, and I can try to simplify and explain to others. So, with that confidence, I started making this course, mainly for the beginners who don't know anything about Sanskrit. So, I am going to tell you right from the alphabets of Sanskrit up to the level of comprehending a story, writing your own story, expressing your thoughts and feelings in Sanskrit as correct sentences, and also different slokas you can deconstruct and get the meaning. And by studying more and more and more, step by step, progressively, we can get a very fine grip on this language. So, in my opinion, it is absolutely easy, of course, for me. So, here is the points which I want to mention. You have to learn like a baby. How a baby learns? Okay. A language learning is a special skill compared to many other types of learning. So, in that aspect, here are some of the points I want to highlight. Number one, learn like a baby, not as an adult. Okay. So, a baby, how it learns is at the age of 1 year or 1.5 years, it could not speak a single word, but it listens to what people speak, mainly parents, and that is how the mother tongue is getting formed. So, the parents speak, the child listens, the child observes what they are pointing to, what sound is related to what object, what sound is related to what action. So, the parents say, sit, stand, come, come on. So, the child understands the sound and the action. Similarly, the parents say, see, this is tiger, this is monkey, this is tree. So, the child understands, okay, this object and this sound are to be related. So, listen and see. You map the word of the sound and the object or the action in your mind first. So, that is to be number one step. The child simply learns by listening to the sound, observing, mapping objects and actions with the sound. I want to drive this point very clearly. That is going to help you to learn the language in a fast and easiest way. Okay, now if you have to start speaking or writing, you have to know more and more vocabulary. Sanskrit has millions and millions of vocabulary which we cannot make a dictionary. So, the vocabulary we have to familiarize over a period of time. So, in the initial stage, more vocabularies are not required. Having a set of 50, 100 words, we can practice the language for sentence construction and expressing our ideas. So, that is number two. We should not go behind learning more vocabularies in the initial stage. The third thing is just again like a child. How the child starts speaking when it becomes 1.5 or 2 years old. The child speaks with 1 or 2 words, maybe with verb, maybe without verb. The child speaks with 2 words, 3 words as a sentence. Whatever the child has learned, listened, and mentally it has made it clear that this sound, this object, this sound and this action are related. So, I am doing that action, I am saying that object, so I have to use this sound. So, with the minimum occurred available words and verbs, the child starts speaking. There are some concepts to understand in Sanskrit that I am going to explain in different classes, in different sessions. You take notes on those concepts in your tongue initially and you revise your notes. Whatever notes you have taken day after day, you revise all the notes taken in successive sessions and classes. You have to measure your own progress by taking the exercises which I am going to give in these sessions and attempting all the questions. By making progress, we get confidence, and by finding where we are making mistakes, we can correct that area and we can improve upon. For that, you will have to take self-test. So, whenever I am giving exercises and worksheets for homework, you please completely attempt all and check with answer, which I am going to discuss in the next session. Always try to express your thoughts by writing and by speaking. You know your limitation because we are learner, so we are not expert, so we can't do what the experts are doing. So as a learner, we have to do step by step whatever we have learned. We will have to exhibit, and we have to understand where we are making mistakes regularly, and we have to correct and build our skills. So this is very essential if we want to improve upon. We have to know the limitation and we have to build up the skills. And the learning is not a process which we can say, okay, it is enough, I will just close it off. Of course, language, a learning process which is continuous in nature, and the Sanskrit, the literature, texts and the scriptures are vast enough that our lifetime won't be sufficient to completely go through all the text and scriptures. So learning is a continuous process, and as long as you continue to learn and to practice, you gain more and more knowledge. Okay, as I said, easy and difficult is a relative term. Sanskrit is very easy to learn and understand. What is difficult in the initial stage is because the language is very compact and dense informations are written in poetic structure. To decode and deconstruct and get the meaning out of that structure is what initially difficult. And my objective is to make that simple. And I understood to deconstruct a sloka is nothing but a sentence written in a sloka form, that's all. So if there is a text sentence, you can read and understand, but the same sentence, if it is shuffled here and there and ordered in some tune, you get a sloka as per some rules. And to decode that, we need the knowledge of word, sentences, nouns, verbs, adjectives, all those things. And the first course is to make us strong based on these basic constructs of the language. So once we are very strong in the language constructs, then we can understand the language very simply. Okay, these are all the concepts. A new language, initially we have to learn in our own language, which we already know. All of us know one language, some may know more than one language. But the concept here is entirely we should not learn the language in our language. In the initial stage, we have to learn a new language in our language, and over a period of time, we have to learn that language in that language only. So we have to make a shift from learning in our language to learning in its own language. I will show you how, and though I am going to use English as the medium of teaching, gradually I will be using more and more Sanskrit words. You will be more comfortable listening to Sanskrit words, and the lecture will be with minimum English words. I am sure you are not going to find any difficulty in understanding these topics. As I said, vocabularies you will have to collect as I am going to discuss in these lectures, the materials which I am going to use and show. Note down all the vocabularies in your notes. There is a pattern in Sanskrit when we are making words, when we are making verbs, when we are constructing sentences. If you understand that concept, understand that pattern, then it will be easy. So we are going to find the patterns and remember the patterns so that we can be more comfortable in using words, verbs and sentences. I am going to demonstrate each and every topic or the portion of a topic through online video, and I will be using whiteboard and wherein I will be writing, and The entire course, the first course, which I have divided into 3 levels, level 1, 2, 3, like that. So, you please go through the complete lesson plans. This point I want to stress, you take notes in your own tongue in the initial stage and don't take running notes. You take your notes in some structured way. Then you revise whatever you collected. You'll have to read at least once. You'll have to revise because it's a new word, new language. Unless you use it, you forget it. So you have to daily use it by revising, reading it at least once, and try to use those words and practice constructing sentences. So feel free, go through all the lessons, raise your questions. I am here to answer your questions one to one, and we should not be hurry. If we hurry and if we get diverted in knowing so many things of this language, then we will be lost. All our attention and energy should be converged into making the base strong. I am sure the entire course you can finish in 3 months of time, and I guarantee that you can speak and write comfortably in these 3 months of time. And that is what I want to achieve, and that is possible just by following these methods which I am explaining here. Your attention span you'll have to increase day by day. Remember, you get rewarded for the labor you make, the efforts you put. So whatever labors and efforts you are going to put, surely you are going to get the reward for that. Just sparing 1 hour a day is very much sufficient. If you learn it as a hobby, you can very comfortably learn it. Never skip exercise, daily spare 1 hour time, check your answers with the answer I am discussing. These 3 points please don't forget. The worksheets are very simple, and you may feel that more work or more practice is done for a subject or a topic which is very simple to understand. But initially we need more drill. It's like telling a child a story. During that 1.5 to 2 year period of lifestyle for a child, we have to tell some 3-4 stories only repeatedly. By repeatedly telling the story for a period of 3 months, 6 months, the child understands the story and the entire scenery. Then after 3 or 4 months, he can go for a new story. But every day, if you tell a different story to a child, none of the story can be comprehended by the child, and the child gets entirely confused. The same methodology I am adopting. So initially the topics are built up portion by portion in pieces with more drill. So by practicing again and again, some of the things will be very firm in our mind. So just like that, we can retrieve those words, we can remember those words. So whenever the occasion comes, we will have to just repeat those words without thinking why I am telling. It's like telling thank you or sorry. You never think to say thank you, you never think to say sorry. Just like that, you say thank you and sorry. So in similar sense, so many Sanskrit words you have to tell just like that. I said this, you learn by listening, you learn by seeing. So you listen to me through the video, you play the video again and again and listen to that. You see the text, write down. You listen to the dictation, try to write down. Whatever I am going to read, without seeing, you try to write down. So you try different methods of your own also in addition to whatever method I am using, so that you can learn this very quickly. It's not that someone has to drill you. You have to drill yourself based on what you want to achieve. Accordingly, you have to practice. My achievement will be everybody who start learning Sanskrit should be in a position to express their views, their feelings in correct sentences and to deconstruct a shloka to get the meaning out of that. This I want, everyone I want in this level. So that is my objective, and I am planning all these courses with those objectives in my mind. Okay, so try to get the concept, note the concept. You get more and more words session after session in the form of noun, in the form of verb. Collect more and more. Orderly record in your notes. Revise whatever you have written. Read once the words and verbs you have collected. Never skip exercise. And learn like a child. How a child learns? Listens, observes, maps. It maps sounds, objects, actions, and it starts speaking on its own. How? Like others are speaking. You say, come here. The child says, come here. That's all. The child is not thinking to construct, how should I say, come here. The child listened hundreds of times, come here. So the child says, come here. That's all. That is how we have to learn. I hope you got the idea that how you should get through this treasure. This is a big treasure. Sanskrit language is a big treasure. You have to first equip yourself. Anyone who is going on a treasure hunt trip, he should equip himself first. As you start collecting more and more treasure, your interest will grow on its own automatically. I sincerely thank you for having taken my request into consideration and joined for this course. I hope I will do justice for the time you are going to spend with me. And the course is called of Sanskrit for Beginners. The ABCD of Sanskrit for Beginners. Okay, I will give some idea about the meaning of this sloka. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Let all be happy. Sarve santu niramayaha. Let all be free of diseases. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Let all see happy, pleasant things. Ma kaschet dukkhabhag bhavet. Let no one be sad or sorrow. The second sloka, Vidya dadati vinayam. Vidya means education, knowledge. It gives humbleness. Vinayam means humble. Vinayam dadati patratam. Because of humbleness, we get character because of the humbleness we have. So someone will identify and say, okay, he is the best suitable person for that. That is called patratam. Someone is best suitable for that. And that comes because of the vinayam. And vinayam comes because of education. Patratvat, because of that suitability nature, dhanam apnoti. You get wealth. Because you are suitable, you are going to discharge the duties there, and a suitable person will get suitably rewarded also. So you are going to get dhanam, wealth. Dhanat dharmaha. Because of wealth, you are going to do some charity activities. Because you have wealth, you will do that one. And because of dharmat tataha sukham. Because of that dharmam tataha sukham, you are going to get comfortably, happily, you are going to get some feelings. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for your passion hearing. I hope I will meet you in the next session. Thank you. Bye.